It all started on a gray, rainy April evening in 1992. It was a Friday. I know this because my parents only allowed me to make my way down to the local video library and rent a new game on Fridays, after I'd gotten out of school. It was like my reward for being a good boy and making good grades. So, 6-year-old me had picked out Top Gear for the Super Nintendo. The black sports car on the front of the box surrounded by a blaze of what I assumed was fiery nitrous oxide propellant called to me. And so did the tagline advertising, in all capital letters, 2-player simultaneous racing. I'd often spend weekends over at my friend Brett's house. We'd make our way to the third-floor room. I called it the blue room because the carpet and all the walls were blue. And make his fold-out bed into a couch, grab a snack, and play video games for hours. It was surprisingly spacious up there, too. Sometimes we'd take breaks and turn out the lights and have glow-in-the-dark Nerf gun battles or play a game of hide-and-seek. But tonight, we were going to race around the world. USA, Brazil, Japan, Germany, you name it. And instead of switching off the controller like we normally did, we could play together the whole time in glorious split screen. I stepped out of my mom's car as she dropped me off at Brett's house and kissed her goodbye. The rain pelted gently against the top of my navy blue raincoat, and my little Velcro shoes sloshed through puddles as I waited at Brett's back door with the game rental box clasped to my chest. His parents let me in. I gave them a quick hello and bounded up the steps to the blue room. Brett swung open the door. "What'd you get, Kevin?" he asked with wild, excited eyes. "Top Gear. They just got it in today. It was the last copy. It's a racing game. 2 players. Cool. Let's pop it in." With that, I ripped open the case and Brett mashed the cartridge into his SNES. He plugged in both controllers and gave me the Player 2 one, as was customary. "Hey," I said, "before we play, let me go grab some drinks and snacks." "Okay, but hurry up." I returned in a jiffy with a couple of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches his mom had already made for us in advance, and some Kool-Aid. As we ate, I thumbed through Top Gear's instruction booklet. What happened next makes my skin crawl when I think about it. I flipped to the very last page of the manual. Everyone familiar with the old-school gaming will know that this was typically the notes page where you jot down passwords. I looked at it closely. In the middle of all those blank lines, something was scribbled in red pen. "Huh?" I looked at the scribbling quizzically. Brett glanced over. "I thought you said this came out today." "It did." "Then how'd this get on here?" "No clue, man." We both looked at each other in confusion. "Well, what does it say?" Brett asked. I leaned in. "It's a poem. It says, 'Mustang Sally,' or should I say Michelle, what's helplessly screaming? Your tires, then you, in hell. JJB." I shot a look to Brett. "Should we tell your parents about this?" "We could tell them later. It's probably just some dumb joke. Do you want to play?" "Okay, well, we'll tell them later." With that, we booted up the game. Everything about Top Gear was mesmerizing. The sense of speed, the music, the tight controls. Hours flew by effortlessly. We played in a trance, racing across Vegas, Rio, Tokyo. Checkpoint after checkpoint, finish line after finish line. The white dotted line zoomed past us at a blistering pace. Pretty soon we had finished the whole game. To our dismay and disappointment, we didn't experience any glorious cutscenes. What we got was a message displaying the following. "Congratulations on completing Top Gear, but can you win on championship level?" Brett and I looked at each other and let out exasperated sighs, but then nodded. We changed the difficulty to championship in the options screen and set out to beat the game again. Meanwhile, the rain intensified outside. It was gray as ever, turning dark, and we were in the midst of a roaring thunderstorm. Thunder cracked loudly outside the back window as Brett started the next set of races. We did well on the North America, South America, and Japan courses, but we kept getting stuck on Germany. Friggin' Germany. There was one track in particular in Germany called Dark Forest, where we'd accidentally run through the pit stop area, bogging us down and allowing the other cars to pass us. Every time we failed the race, we were told to try again and given the level password, Wreckage. After a few times of retrying this level, we finally beat it, or so I thought. I came in first place and Brett finished second. When the post-race results screen came up, it showed me in second place and Brett in third place. Who was in first place? JJB. I looked at Brett. The heck? I know you came in first, man. You were right ahead of me. I saw you pass the finish line. Yeah. Weird. I pushed a button to advance to the next screen and the game froze totally. The music kept looping, but we were stuck on this results screen. I was used to NES games messing up, but errors like this were fairly uncommon on the Super Nintendo. Brett reset his system, and I reminded him of the password. He entered WRECKAGE and pressed start. Just as he did, a female scream came blaring out of his television speakers. I looked at Brett. Puzzlement filled his face, and he shrugged. At the time, I think we both figured it was some kind of strange password confirmation sound effect. Whatever. We continued playing. 3 laps down, then 4. Okay, now the final lap. About 1/4 of the way to the finish line, the game began flickering back and forth very rapidly between the main game and what looked like a pixelated headshot photo of a pretty blonde woman. She could have been a model. The pulsing intensified to the point that it distracted me and Brett from the game, and we both hit lampposts. At this point, we didn't even care about winning anymore. We were so curious and weirded out that we both set our controllers down and got right up to the TV screen to examine what was going on. The game music ceased, and in its place was a weird, deep droning sound. The woman's image continued to flicker. The droning got louder, and slowly the photo of the woman's face began to split into pieces and get pulled apart to every corner of the screen. At this point, I was genuinely scared and told Brett that I was going to go tell his mom what was going on. He nodded in agreement. Just as we began to walk away, we heard a high-pitched squeal, followed by a sickening crash, and then the power went out. Brett and I walked over to his window. Though it was now pitch black outside, there was a thick veil of rain. A streak of lightning illuminated the sky long enough for us to make out a red Mustang completely wrapped around a telephone pole. We stayed up there and watched out his window for the next 30 minutes or so. Cops, firefighters, and an ambulance arrived. When the body was recovered and placed onto a stretcher, I peered down and squinted to make out what I was seeing. All I saw was a mess of blonde hair and red, chunky flesh where a face should have been. Later that night, the power came back on. Brett and I were both downstairs getting something to eat when we walked past the living room, where his parents were watching the local news. A reporter appeared. Late tonight on Jubin Road, 21-year-old Michelle Wilkinson was on her way home from her boyfriend's house when her car's tires lost their grip on the road. Forensic detectives say that the former prom queen and local model was unsuccessful in regaining control of her car and collided head-on with a telephone pole. Medical teams were dispatched, but were unsuccessful in saving the young woman's life. She was pronounced dead on the scene. Weather conditions and speed are believed to have been factors. Our hearts go out to the Wilkinson family. We here at Channel 9 News are truly sorry to hear of this terrible, terrible tragedy. The news reporter frowned sullenly. Back to you, Lisa.